Hi there, this is the second video from the Create Within series, as promised. Um, Basically, yesterday or last time we did a video, we talked about the story that we come down, the actor that is the soul and the character that you're playing, and the way that the scripts can be written for you by other people, or when we start co-writing or eventually writing our own script as we get older and as we interact, or never challenging the scripts that we've been given. So there's some of the things. And I said yesterday that I'd explain how the spirit brain and the human brain are very, very different in their outlooks. So this is what I believe. So take what you will out of it. The energy, the creator, wanted to experience itself and decided that it didn't understand limitation, didn't understand loss, didn't understand grief, didn't understand any of the things that we as people and other limited incarnations within time and space actually feel, experience. So it put itself into all shapes, all sizes, all possibilities, and it worked with the energy that it is itself love, experiencing infinite possibilities. So all the possibilities it didn't deem were positive or negative, but it needed a duality within them so that it could make a choice of what it wanted to be and where it wanted to fit in with everything. Okay, so we've got the spirit coming down, which is a bit gung-ho. I want to experience everything like a child. I want to get into this, I want to do that, I want to do the other, and I want to have as many experiences as possible. Now, the obvious flaw to that in a world where you can be ended quite quickly by an interaction with something else or anything else if you're not careful is there wouldn't have been a vast amount of experience. It would have been a case of, hey, this is great, and then it would have been over. Falling off a cliff, drowning, being hit by something. So it needed something that would sort of sustain the experiences, and then the mind was developed. So we've got the spirit coming down saying, no, I want to experience everything, love experiencing infinite possibilities. It doesn't have a judgment of what's right or wrong, it just wants to experience all of it. And then we've got the mind that comes in with a totally different role and job. This is seeking safety, fearing loss. This wants to make sure that we can have as long as we get on the planet. This wants to make sure that we don't put ourselves in danger. And this wants to, in a way, limit our experiences to ensure that we can have a sustained experience. So the mind is pretty much about putting us in our comfort zone and keeping us there, which is brilliant. Apart from the soul doesn't get to experience anything new if we're stuck in that completely. So we've got a consistent battle that goes on with this. We've got the part of us that is out there rebellious, wants to go and do more, and some people let that win consistently and are quite reckless, and maybe the consequences could be a shorter life, right? And then we've got the people that the mind wins, the physical mind, and they just don't take chances. They don't do anything new. They don't have new experiences, unless, I'm not saying, there's no experiences coming in for them, because there's always external things where someone else starts writing scripts or events start writing scripts. So there will be new experiences, but they won't be at their desire or beck and call, and they won't like them. That might be something they try to avoid. So we're sort of moving forward with this. And I mean, when I was talking to the energy about this and it was trying to reassure me, I was a bit peeved off really, and I'm like, well, the two things you're telling me is that no matter what I do, whether that church might say, this is good, and if I behave well and I do brilliantly, there is no reward for me over in the spirit world, because it's all the same. Just as there's no punishment if I do things that are terribly wrong by modern day society. So there are things that work and fit within the physical world. If we all went around killing each other and stopping people's experience, then it wouldn't work for the experience, it wouldn't work for each other. So there's laws and there's rules that the physical bring in to maintain autonomy over making decisions. In theory, no one should be able to make a decision over you or whatever. In practice, that might be different. So I was sort of arguing with the spirit at the time, quite disillusioned. So we're a bit like crash dummies. And it tried to sort of sell it to me a bit, and he went, no, you're not crash dummies, you're like test pilots. So I'm like, well, it can all end up being pretty pretty dodgy. It can all end up messy. But I suppose if I'm playing the plane and I've got my mind and everything else, it can put the foot on the brake. It can slow things down. It can do things differently. It can sort of make the ride a bit more comfortable for me. So it's up to me how fast I want to drive the car. If I want to drive it really, really fast, brilliant. But that might not be the safest, and I might not do it too often. And I might not have the option to keep doing it. Or I can drive it really, really slow, thinking it's the safest, and who knows, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So these are what the things are talking about with the two conditions, basically. The spirit comes in, love, wanting to experience infinite possibilities, and that is throughout the entire universe. That's within everything, that's within all of it, and we're part of it. So I'm God Derekin, and you are whoever you are, and God is within you and working through you to experience things. And the mind is very much like, yeah, it's great. I mean, it's wonderful that God can create all these things with you and other people, but realistically, I need to pay the bills, keep a roof over our heads, do all the practical stuff, because if we don't, then we're out of it, and it's not really good from where we are. Totally true. So there's a compromise and a balance between the two. I mean, I would say that I'm a man of faith, because the work that I do, we have got bookings next year, and if we'd accept them, we'd probably have bookings a year later. But having COVID around the society, nothing is certain, but that could be anything that's not certain. So there are times in the diary where we know that we haven't got the income coming in that will meet the bills, and we just have to trust that throughout the year we'll find it, and we normally do. But on paper at the beginning of every year, it's very, very scary. By the end of the year, we've got through it, and it's like not been as hard as we thought it would be. But that's just having that faith, and the mind going through a discomfort, because the mind would rather maybe us getting proper jobs and going and doing something that's on a more regular basis, rather than being stuck in a situation where not knowing where the next bit of money's coming from, which is not good for the mind. It doesn't enjoy it. So that's where we're at. So the main concept is the spirit works on love, experience and infinite possibilities. The mind works on seeking safety, fearing loss. So they're two different energies completely. We're on the vibration of protection, or we're on the vibration of expansion. Nothing wrong with either. The duality is important, because we can't have growth without the choice, and we can't choose who we are without. The healer needs someone to be sick, otherwise they can't heal. The serial killer detective who catches them needs a serial killer. There's all a counterbalance. We can't have A if there's not B. So that's how it is. And no doubt there's C, D and E as well. I mean, not getting too technical with it. That's the thing. I'll move on tomorrow and maybe talk about the stuff about the difficulty in accepting that everything's by God's will. There's nothing that we can do that's wrong. And that takes us on to sort of the unconditional love. Whereas we're perhaps more used to the conditional love that has got a reward, and we know what to do for that reward. So it's how our mind copes with that as well. So thanks for your time, and hopefully you'll listen soon.